to move when God says move? Are you ready to move in what God has for you? Are you ready to move in the visions and dreams He's given you? Are you ready to move when God says move? Lord, give me wisdom and understanding to do your will, Lord, just as you want me to. In every situation, Lord, I yield my will to you. And if it be your will, I'll go where you want me to go. And if it be your will, I'll go where you want, be what you want, do what you want me to do. And if it be your will, I'll go where you want me to go. Are you ready to move when God says
Good evening and welcome to Chase Oaks. That was Rachel Sewell singing that song. Are you ready to move? Glad you all are here. Glad those that are visiting. Do me a favor in a safe and comfortable. You doing, Philomene? In a safe and comfortable way. Just kind of look around and wave at everybody. So you can say, "Hey, Roland, yes, Cindy." Did I say that? See, you know why I said it, because she just finished singing and we were talking about it. She said, welcome to One Faith Community Church, everybody. What's that when you get old, I'm telling you. It's good to see you. So do me a favor, just talk amongst yourself, not, safely, and while we try to figure out what I'm doing up here, because I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, glad to see you, glad you're here. Let's get ready to sing this song because I'm kind of yeah. Did I say that? You all may have not heard. I think y'all didn't hear it correctly. Y'all could have heard it. No, I said it. Oh, I don't think I said it, no. It's falling from the clouds, a strange and lovely sound. I hear it in the thunder and the rain. It's ringing in the skies like candles in the night. Music of the universe plays. We're singing, you are holy, great and mighty. The moon and the stars declare who you are. I'm so unworthy, but still you love me. Forever my heart will sing of how great you are. free. The song of galaxies, reaching far beyond the Milky Way. Let's join in with the sound. Come on, let's sing it out as the music of the universe plays. Oh, we're singing, you are holy, great and mighty. The moon and the stars declare who you are. I'm so unworthy, but still you love me. Forever my heart will sing of you. All glory, honor, power is yours, amen. All glory, honor, power is yours, amen. All glory, honor, power is yours, forever, amen. You are holy, great and mighty. The moon and the stars declare who you are. I'm so unworthy, but still you love me. Forever my heart will sing of you. We're singing, you are holy, great and mighty. The moon and the stars declare who you are. I'm so unworthy, but still you love me. Forever my heart will sing of how great you are. You are holy, great and mighty. Oh, the moon and the stars declare who you are. I'm so unworthy, but still you love me. Forever my heart will sing of how great you are. Yes, amen, amen. You may be seated. So before I was distracted and said the wrong thing, the reason why, I'm going to find excuses. Hold on. The reason why. No, the reasons, not excuses, reasons. The reasons why is because I was thinking about Rachel because she sang the song and she did such a wonderful job, and she's from Chase Oaks, and that's what I was thinking about saying that or not. But I know it doesn't matter. Y'all don't care. So I hope you still love me. Just love me. That's all. I just want you to love me. So, over the past few weeks, we've had the opportunity of talking about some wonderful patriarchs and stuff, and getting acquainted with different characters in the Bible, kind of some of the main characters. We talked about Abraham, we talked about Isaac, and we talked about Jacob. And then we covered Joseph last week because he was instrumental in the surviving of 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago. That was 2 weeks ago. Okay, it's Saturday. So it's always Saturday. But anyways, just work with me. But see, here's another thing. So I'm trying to get to last week. Yeah, this is what I want to say. Last week, Reggie Nias did a wonderful, absolutely wonderful sermon on talk on prayer. Loved it. It was so if you didn't get a chance to be here last week, you can go to our webpage and you can look under our services and look for the one on prayer from last week. Absolutely phenomenal. I enjoyed it. I got to sing and just listen to him, so that was wonderful because you all didn't have to listen to me, so that was even better. So today what I want to talk about is Moses. And we're going to be in Exodus chapters 1 through 3. And we're talking about Moses and the children of Israel. So let me give you a quick kind of just to sum it up. So what we're going to talk about is what happened was, so Joseph was a slave in Egypt, and then he worked for Potiphar, and then he was put in jail, and then he got out of jail, and then he, interpreted Pharaoh's dream, with God's help, interpreted Pharaoh's dream, got the dream done. He was put over all of Egypt to save everybody because they had 7 years of famine and then 7 years of plenty. So he's like, okay, we're going to be ready for this. So what ended up happening was people came to Egypt from all around. So that's where all the food was. That's where he got together with his brothers again, because they had to come to get food because there was food nowhere. So that kind of leads us to where we are. So what happened when they came there, so just think, so if Dallas is the place where all the food is, so people from Houston and people from Louisiana and then people from everybody's going to come here. So what we ended up having was a lot of the Hebrews and Israelites were in Egypt. So we'll pick it up from Exodus 1, verses 6 and 7, and it says, "Now Joseph and all his brothers and all the generation died, but the Israelites were exceedingly fruitful. They multiplied greatly, increased in numbers, and became so numerous that the land was filled with them." So it was a lot of them. It was a lot. And they were just, they were happy. So they were just multiplying, and it was becoming several of them and a whole lot. So at that time, the Egyptians and the Israelites, they kind of, Israelites were there and the Egyptians were there, and they may not have been perfect harmony, but they were, they got along and everything was going great. But as they continued to grow in number, some of the Egyptians had a problem with that. It's like, okay, I don't know if y'all looked out there lately, but it's a whole lot of them. Matter of fact, it's almost more of them than there are of us. So in Exodus 8 to 10, now this is the next verse. Right after it talks about how the land was filled with them, it comes right in 8:10. It says, "Then a new king, to whom Joseph meant nothing, came to power in Egypt. Look, he said to his people, the Israelites have become far too numerous, and if war breaks out, we'll join our enemies, fight against us, and leave the country." So he had it all figured out. So if war broke out, the first thing that the Israelites would want to do, of course, since they've been living there all that time, let's just kill them all and then leave. Because I just always wanted to leave my house. That's the first thing I want to do is just leave after all of that. But that's the choice he made and the decision that he wanted to say. So in that verse, one of the things that I always stood out to me was that it said, "Then a new king, to whom Joseph meant nothing, came to power in Egypt." So Joseph was put over Egypt to be there during the 7 years of plenty and the 7 years of famine, helped save many people, many lives, Egyptians and everybody. He was put over all of Egypt to do all of this. And then it came a time when a new king who knew nothing about Joseph. So how can you know nothing about somebody that was that important to Egypt? In King James Version, it says, "Then a new king who knew not Joseph." So the way I think about it, one or two things happen. So either that part was omitted from the records of history, or the new king, as he was coming up, just ignored any history of Joseph at all. Now you would wonder, well, why would he do that? Well, you have to remember, during this time, Joseph was a slave. So if we boil it all down, he was a slave. So what you want me to do, this is the new king saying, what you want me to do is recognize this slave, even though he did something good, yeah, but we probably would have figured it out too. But he did something good, so now you want me to continue to remember him all this time? No, we need to move on. We need to move on from that. And there were some Egyptians probably that said, you know what, yeah, let's remember him, because if it wasn't for him, my family would have died. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't even be here. But some were like, yeah, but that's okay. We don't need to remember that. And when I read that, it kind of reminds me kind of almost of where we are now as far as when it comes to history. Because this is back during Joseph time. So right now, history kind of wants to be changed a little. Not all of it. Let's not talk about all of it. Let's just talk about the good parts. Oh, I don't want to talk about anything bad that happened. Let's just talk about the good parts of history. And that's not history. Because history is everybody's story, not just one. So we learn from the good and the bad. So to not look at the complete history is kind of disservice to everyone. I just wanted to. When I first read that, it just brought that to my mind. So I just wanted to talk about that, because we need to be careful, and we need to make sure that. Perfect example. The Bible, it just doesn't have all good things in the Bible. The Bible tells us everything, good, bad, where we messed up, where we didn't mess up, where we did things right, where we didn't do things right, because that way we can learn from those mistakes. So if we try to do the same thing now with history, and as we start to discover, okay, no, that's not really what happened, this is what happened. Well, no, we don't need to know that part. Yes, we do. So we need to know all of it. So anyway, back to Exodus. Sorry for the kind of went off a little bit on a tangent, but back to Exodus. So the new king, the new Pharaoh, what he decided to do was just, let's make it hard. Let's just make it hard on the Israelites. So if they are going to be here and they're taking over and it's becoming so many of them, we need to try to figure out something to do to where we're still in control. So what they decided to do, they decided to put taskmasters over the Israelites, and then they wanted to keep the male babies from, if the male babies are born, we need to kill them. And if the females are born, let's let them live. And so they went to the midwives of the Hebrews, and they said, okay, do this if the boys are born, you need to kill them. And they said, we're not going to do that. Don't you think we're not going to do that? Okay, fine. So Pharaoh came out with his own edict. Okay, from now on, if any boys are born, they go into the Nile. The girls, they can live. So this is where Moses comes into the story, because his mother has Moses. So she's able to hide him for at least 3 months. Hides Moses for 3 months, but at that point, he's getting kind of big. He's probably crying a lot, making a lot of noise. And you go, okay, he's kind of big little boy right there. So what she did, she makes a basket. She puts the basket in the Nile, and it floats down the river, and she sends her daughter, Miriam, to kind of watch the basket. So the basket is going down the Nile. So the basket kind of floats down to where Pharaoh's daughter is bathing in the Nile. She sees the basket, and she's like, oh my goodness, it's a Hebrew baby. So she knew it was a Hebrew baby. So then at that time, Miriam comes out. Miriam says, oh, do you want me to go and get someone to nurse the baby for you? And she said, yes, go. Okay, so this part of the story is one of my favorites, because when you think about it, this is what happens. So the baby's floating down the Nile. Miriam's following. His sister is following him. So they get the Pharaoh's daughter sees the baby. She's like, oh, my goodness, there's a baby. So Miriam comes out the bushes. Hey, what's up? There's a baby? Do you want me to go and get somebody to nurse the baby? So Pharaoh's daughter said, yes, would you do that for me? She said, of course I will. So she goes and gets her mother to nurse her son. I was like, how cool is that? So she got to nurse her son and got paid for doing it. That's pretty cool. I mean, if you can work everything out like that to where it comes up, that's perfect. So at least she got to spend a little more time with her son, and she also knew that he would be taken care of. So at a point, as he grows older, he lives in the palace. So now he's in the palace. You know, he grows up in the palace. He's educated, Egyptian education, smart, brilliant. So at some point in his life, he realizes that he's not Egyptian. He's a Hebrew. So I don't know if someone knew that and kind of told him, you know, we don't like you that much because, you know, you're a Hebrew anyway. Or if don't know how, it doesn't say how, but that's what happened. So I can imagine when you think of Moses, you know, did he start feeling like, do I belong in the palace? I should be out there with my people. Why am I sitting in here and they're being treated that way out there? You know, did he walk around trying to figure out at some point they're going to come and take everything I have and throw me out there? Who am I now? He starts trying to figure out his identity. I don't know who I am. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to act? I have no idea. Regardless of how these questions burdened him, it was only a matter of time before he started realizing, okay, you know what? They're my people. I got to look out for my people. So, you know, his heart starts to change and he becomes more compassionate for the people that he is a part of that are being mistreated. So one day, he sees this Egyptian beating a Hebrew, an Israelite, and he's like, okay, what? I'm going to take care of that. So he looks around when everybody's gone and he kills the Egyptian. Then he buries him in the sand and he figures, that's one down. I got some more. That's one. But he's going to be on a mission. This is his plan. I'm going to rescue my people one at a time by taking one of them out. You know, every time I see one, I take one. So next day he sees two Hebrews fighting, and he's like, guys, why are you fighting? Why are you treating each other like that? And Exodus 2:14 says, who made you ruler and judge over us? Are you thinking of killing me as you killed the Egyptian? He was like, oh, snap. Somebody knows. Somebody saw. Somebody see. So I didn't do that well. You know, I thought I had a plan. I thought I did this to the point where nobody knew. But that wasn't the case at all. So at this point, he's like, okay, Pharaoh, he can't find out. I know he can't. Well, he does find out. Pharaoh finds out and says, oh, you killed an Egyptian? Okay, you die. So he's looking for him to kill him. He's like, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to leave. You know, Honey and I were talking, and it got to a point to where he didn't know what to do. And sometimes I can relate to that part of the story. You know, what is my worth? Where am I in this story? You know, because I'm a husband, a father, and a pastor. And there are times I can tell you where each one of those come into question for me. Am I being a good husband? Am I being a good father? Am I messing that up? Am I pastoring well? Am I being a pastor that I should be? Is it things I need to be doing that I'm not doing? I don't know. Because my identity, I don't know which hat I need to wear. And if I'm wearing the hat, am I wearing it right? I don't know. And I can imagine, at this point, Moses is like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. So when most of us get conflicted, he did the regular thing we do. I told Honey he went out and bought a Porsche. You know, that's what he did. No, what he did, he fled. He's like, he left. He ran. You know, feeling lost and not realizing that God has a plan. And here's the thing about it. I don't even know if Moses knew of God at that point. He was raised Egyptian. They had their own gods. He may not even know the gods of the Hebrews or the Israelites. He didn't know about that one. So how was he to know, okay, let me pray to him, or maybe he didn't know that. But see, God has a plan. He always has a plan. And it's like every week, every story, I always say, and God had a plan. Well, because he does. He has a plan for everything, no matter what it is. If we mess it up, he can fix it. If we don't go right, he can steer it where he needs to go. He's going to get the outcome he needs to get. It's not even a question. He's going to get the outcome he needs to get. You know, he's never confused by any moment or any situation or any difficulty or any circumstance. He knows what's going on. He's like, okay, I didn't tell him to kill him. What? All right, fine. What? Why you run? Okay, I didn't tell him to run. Okay, that's all right. I know what I'm doing. So he runs, and he runs to Midian. He gets to Midian, and he meets Reuel and his family. He has 7 daughters. He ends up marrying one of his daughters, Zipporah, and they have a son and family. I mean, so he's good. Life is good. You know, he's like, you know what? I'm through with that life back there. I don't have to go back there anymore. I'm done with Egypt. I'm so glad. I didn't like them anyway. Now I'm here. I'm in the desert. Sheep, got family. I'm good to go. But meanwhile, the Israelites are still in bondage. The Israelites are still being abused, still being mistreated all this time. In Exodus 2:23 through 25, it says, during that long period, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites groaned in their slavery and cried out. And their cry for help because of their slavery went up to God. God heard their groaning and remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. God looked on the Israelites and was concerned about them. So not knowing what to do, not knowing which way to go, Moses wanted that wisdom that only God could give.
Lord, give me wisdom and understanding to do your will, Lord, just as you want me to, and not my will, Lord, but thine will be done in every situation. Lord, I yield my will to you.
His will. God's will for what was next. So one day when Moses was tending the flocks, he noticed a bush burning. It was burning, but it wasn't being consumed. That was weird. So he goes over to the bush and he hears a voice that says he's standing on holy ground. He's like, oh. So God tells Moses that he has heard the cry of his people He's heard the cry of the Israelites and their suffering. So God, was coming down to bring them out of the land of Egypt and take them into the land flowing with milk and honey. And I love this part. The land was occupied by Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Havitites, Jebusites, Planoites, Dalasites, Rockwallites, and this. Okay, and any other ites that you know that it was, but you know, this is God. So I don't care who's there. So Moses heard that was going to happen. He's like, oh my goodness, this is great. Thank you. He's like, thank you. Finally, somebody's going to go and save my people. Thank you, God. It's so great to hear from you that this bush is burning and not being consumed. And then now you're going to save my people. That's wonderful. He was excited. But then in Exodus 3:10-11, he gets a surprise. And God says, so now go. I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Hold on a second. I was glad that you were doing that. But do you realize who I am? I'm not one of those. I left there. I was already a Hebrew in Egypt, but I left. I came out here. I'm good. I'm happy. Why are you sending me? But it was something that God saw in Moses that he didn't see in himself. He saw that you are the one I need. That's what he told him he was. We have a little difficulty, but we're going to fix it. It's about this big. I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. Oh, I believe. Oh, I believe what you say in me. Oh, I believe. The only thing that matters is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, In you I find my identity. Oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. Oh, I believe. Taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You have every failure, God. You have every victory. Oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. Oh, you say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. Oh, I believe. Oh, I believe what you think of me. Oh, I believe. Oh, I believe. Yes, I believe what you say of me. Oh, I believe. God saw in Moses more than what he saw in himself. In verse 12, God said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. Moses asked, who am I to go and bring them out of Egypt? And God said, I will be with you. God's plan was to use Moses to save his people, the same way he used Joseph to save many people. God had been preparing Moses this entire time, and he had no idea. It doesn't matter that Moses felt he was not worthy or he was not up to the challenge. Because remember, earlier when I was talking about God having a plan all the time, in every situation, for everything, that's because he does. He was with Abraham. He was with Isaac. He was with Jacob. He was with Joseph. Now he said, Moses, I'll be with you. I'll be with you. When God calls us to something, he is calling us knowing that we will not be going through it alone. He's with us. He sees our potential when all we see are our shortcomings. So when I think about this story, and you know, so much happened. He went, plagues, a whole lot of stuff. But the first he had to go. That's the first thing. So when I think of the moral of the story, and when I was thinking about this story altogether, I say when you look at it from this side, it is that what we see in us and what God sees in us is two different things. See, because when he looked at Moses, Moses didn't see himself as a leader or someone that could go and talk to Pharaoh to release his people every time. And keep going back and kept going back and things got and kept going. He didn't see himself going once, but God did. And he put his trust in God. God looks at me struggling, trying my best to be a good husband. And he says, Tyrone, I'm with you. Or he looks at me trying to be a father, saying, did I say the right thing? Did I tell the kids right, Father? Was I there when I was supposed to? He said, Tyrone, I'm with you. When I think about One Faith Community Church, and then, am I leading well? Am I doing this right? Am I being there? What am I? God, I have no idea. I have no idea. And he said, Tyrone, I'm with you. You're not doing this by yourself. I'm with you. In each of those challenges, we are not alone. God, he looks at us and he says, I'm with you. And we can trust him to do what he says. If he says he's with us, he's with us. Because what he sees in us is much more than we see in ourselves. Much more than we see in ourselves.
And if it be your will, I'll go where you want me to go. And if it be your will, I'll go where you want, be what you want, do what you want me to do. And if it be your will, I'll go where you want me to go. Are you ready to move when God says move?
Are we ready to move when God says move? Are we ready to trust him? Are we ready to put our hope in him? Are we ready to believe when he says, I will be with you? Now, last week we sang a new song, Awesome. And it's the song that uses the one word that I reserve whenever I'm talking about God, awesome. So to me, it's like singing Amazing Grace or Oh, How He Loves. That's what that means to me. So I would like us to sing that again this week, because that's going to be one of the songs when it comes to One Faith Community Church's playlist. That song will be on our playlist. So I'm going to invite you to stand as we sing this song again. Singing about my God, yeah. My God is awesome. He can move mountains, Keep me in the valley, hide me from the rain. My God is awesome, heals me when I'm broken, strength where I've been weak, and forever He will reign. My God is awesome, He can move mountains. Keep me in the valley, hide me from the rain. My God is awesome, heals me when I'm broken, strength where I've been weak, and forever He will reign. My God is awesome, awesome. Awesome, awesome, my God is awesome. Oh yeah, awesome, 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 my God is awesome. Savior of the whole world, giver of salvation. His stripes I am healed. My God is awesome. Today I am forgiven. His grace is why I'm living. Praise His holy name. My God is awesome. He is awesome. He's awesome. Awesome. Yes, He is awesome. My God is awesome. He is awesome. Awesome. He's so awesome. Awesome. Yes, He is awesome. Yeah, He's mighty. 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 He is awesome. He is so awesome. Awesome. Yeah, He's holy. 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 Awesome. Anybody know He's awesome? Awesome. Yeah, He's great. 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 Awesome. I know He's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, say He's mighty. He's mighty. He's mighty. He's mighty. He's mighty. He's mighty. Mighty in battle. He is awesome. Yeah, He is awesome. Oh, He's a deliverer. Deliverer. He's delivered me. He'll do it for you. He is awesome. My God is awesome. Awesome. Yeah, He's holy. He's holy. He's holy. He's holy. He's holy. He's holy. So holy. He's holy. Awesome. Anybody know He's awesome? Awesome. Yeah, He is a provider. 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 He'll provide for you. He is awesome. Yes, He is so awesome. Awesome. One more thing, the Lord is a protector. 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 Yes, He is. Protector. He is awesome. Oh, He is awesome. My God is awesome. He can move mountains. Keep me in the valley. Hide me from the rain. My God is awesome. Heals me when I'm broken. Strength when I've been weak. And praise His holy name. You may be seated for a minute.
Good evening, So great to see you here for Worship and Word. Great to have you online if that's where you're joining us. It's just always a blessing to have you in the house and with us and supporting us no matter where you are. We are looking forward to having us all together sometime very soon, so just be on the lookout for that. The plans are in the works. If you've been with us for the past few weeks, you know that we have been inviting you to email us at info@onefaithcommunity.org with questions about our church, questions about who we are, anything that you might want to know about us. And a couple of weeks ago, I introduced you to some folks in the band, because that seems to be where a lot of the questions come from, is who are all these people who are helping us lead, helping us put the worship in Worship and Word. And so this week, I want to give a little bit of love to the folks who are singing, who are leading us with their voices. So if you will allow me just a couple of minutes, I want to introduce you to the folks on the stage. Like Tyrone has already kind of let out of the bag, most of these folks are folks we know from Chase Oaks Church that Tyrone met when he was leading the worship team there. And so if you're thinking, gosh, that looks a lot like, or she sure does resemble, that might be why. You may have seen them before. But I want you to meet them by name and just help me appreciate them for all that they give to make this service go, to help us lead. I'm going to start over here with Stacy Stevenson. So Stacy is one of our altos. She's one of those kind of quiet, steady people that you can always go to for leadership. She is consistent. She is a remarkable prayer warrior. And just somebody that we treasure her friendship. She's got a wonderful servant's heart, and we are just grateful for her. Okay, I'm going out of order. Sean Lewis, on the other hand, is singing tenor. He's a force, as you've already seen. So Sean and Tyrone met through a mutual friend. He actually leads worship at New Covenant Christian Fellowship, but he and Tyrone have been partners in praise for a few years. And even with all of the demands on his time, he still makes time for us little people every now and then. So we are grateful that Sean is with us. Marta Vecchio is singing soprano today, and Marta, you may or may not know, is trained as a classical singer, but when it comes to worship, it does not matter what the genre is. You can throw it at her, and she will do it. And I like to watch Marta sing, because she just sort of lets the Holy Spirit just wash over her, and it's just a beautiful sight when you see someone who is that in the zone and that in tune with the power of the Holy Spirit. So we thank Marta for being with us. Okay, I'm going to skip over here to sanctified and fire-baptized Constance Mouton on contralto. That would be you. Constance is not only a great singer, but she is great with spoken word. If you just hear her voice, you want to do whatever it is that she says. She's just got one of those captivating voices and just a beautiful aura about her. So Stacy and Constance and Marta and I have also enjoyed singing together in El Servicio en Español at Chase Oaks Church. Always a blast singing with you folks. And last but not least, Rachel Sewell. So Rachel, who we've heard from a lot over the weeks and especially a lot today, Rachel is actually the worship leader at the Sloan Creek campus at Chase Oaks Church. And so we are really grateful that she has made time to be with us. She's got one of those really beautiful spirits, and she's one of those people who's not satisfied, never satisfied with where she is. She is always looking for opportunities to broaden her gifts and to stir them up in different ways, and open to let the Lord use her however he chooses. And so that kind of spirit is exactly what we like up here on this platform. So Tyrone and I are really blessed to just have these friends and many more who allow God to use them to lead us in worship. And remember, if you are a musician or you're a vocalist and you are interested in helping lead worship, please email us, info@onefaithcommunity.org. We would like to meet you, and there's room for you. Don't think that there's too many. There's always room for more. The cool thing about this team, and the main thing that that we look for besides like talent is people who just have the joy of the Lord about them. Like, you can't stand up here in praise to our awesome Father and be grumpy. So I love this team because they have different personalities, but they are, no matter what your posture of worship is, you can find your person up here. Like, if you are a jumper around kind of person, you can find that person. If you are a Holy Spirit wash over me person, you can find that person. If you are contemplative and just locked and loaded, you can find that person. We want everybody to feel like that God welcomes their form of worship. And so we want leaders up here who will help us do that. So please email us if you play, if you sing. We would love to have you. We would love to meet you. So email us, info@onefaithcommunity.org. Those are the announcements. So just as always, remember Susan is here for your offerings. You can give in person here. You can give online at onefaithcommunity.org. Hit the give button. And as always, Tyrone and I will be down front. We would love to meet you. We would love to say hello. If you want to know more about how to figure out who you are in God, so that you don't run when life puts the squeeze on you, then come talk to us. We'd love to talk to you about that. If you want to learn how to be a follower of Jesus, the most important thing, we would love to talk to you about that. So please come and say hello. Come and see Susan if you've got an offering, and otherwise we will see you next week. So now I'd like to ask you to stand for our benediction song. Thank you.
Well, okay, so I love it. So I'm going to tell you, so we're going to do this by memorandum because I didn't have that on the list of songs for the band to have today. So is it in G? See, I think the lyrics are back there somewhere. You know what? Grace. This is what we're going to have, Grace right here. Y'all ready? Here we go. I think it was good. May your struggles keep you near the cross. May your troubles show that you need God. May your battles in the way they should. May your bad days prove that God is good. May your whole life prove that God is good. Let's do it again, one more time. May your troubles keep you near the cross. May your troubles show that you need God. May your battles in the way they should. May your bad days prove that God is good. May your whole life prove that God is good. Thank you for spending your Saturday with us. Have a good evening.